And welcome back to a special Michael and Ellis show Survivor 47 episode. We're doing a practically live, hot, fresh reactions tonight.
Yep,
Uh,
hot fresh take right off the
r-
presses. Oh my god.
right off the bat.
Was this quite the episode?
I
Man, I
mean,
almost shit myself and threw up.
not only
So, yeah.
not only was it a very intense, riveting episode, but Michael's bus broke down, so he unfortunately
Yeah.
was not able to go to class. But
Gotta watch it
fortunately,
live for once.
ex- not even live. You got to watch it in the future before all West Coast people. We were the
Oh, right.
we were the first people on the West Coast to watch Survivor.
Exactly.
um,
We're just special like that. Jeff gives us the tape beforehand to review.
exactly. We get yeah, on fire with Jeff Probst. No, it's the Michael and Ellis show.
Exactly.
Top
This is where
priority.
people get their news.
Yeah, so it's the 10th episode. We're in double digits now. We're getting down to it. Um
Yeah, final nine. Final
final
nine. Now final eight.
Now final 8, final 4 episodes of the season, not 3. We have confirmed officially there will be a 14th episode, and the last two, 13 and 14, will be 2 hours. They're calling it a part 2 of a finale. Someone on Twitter pointed out kind of is antithetical to the idea of a finale if it's 2 parts, but we're not going to worry about that.
We don't question it. We
We
don't
don't
question it.
question it. Um, yeah, I mean this was the episode of threats. We had Genevieve
Yeah,
talking about the tallest blade of grass gets cut down. Andy's talking about like everyone's going threat hunting tonight. Um,
yeah,
Everyone's talking about the targets on people's backs. We just came off of should I do my recap? I don't know how this works. Are we just doing pure
yeah.
reactions
Do the
or
recap, you know?
all right, I'll do the recap. Yeah, we who Soul, beloved fan favorite, Soul was just voted out. Teeny was
Yeah,
crushed. They are pissed at Genevieve, want to get revenge. They're feeling it
yeah,
at an ultimate low. Their bag got burnt. Potential Teeny winner edit, maybe, or zero vote finalist, or fire making challenge boot. I can't tell. Um, and Andy's getting this snake edit. He's like, I'm a slithery little snake, and I'm gonna
yeah.
backstab everyone. Uh,
Yeah, that was very much being shown this episode. Oh my gosh. Was it actually honestly getting kind of on my nerves? I was like, wow, give this man 1 ounce of power and he immediately goes crazy.
mm. Um, and so then there was a reward challenge. It was split into 3 teams. Kyle, Sam, and Rachel ended up winning. Uh, Andy is making more weird challenge moments of biting balls. It kind of worked out for him.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I
Genevieve,
guess. Hard
Genevieve,
licking it.
Genevieve tried to like blow on hers to like push it down the hill.
Don't know what that plan was, to be
It
honest.
it didn't pan out.
Did not pay for her.
But Kyle, Sam, and Rachel pretty like kind of steamrolled everyone. They go to reward. They're talking game, um, and they're throwing out names. We basically it's coming down to like if Kyle doesn't win immunity, everyone's gunning for him. And the challenge for immunity is holding the platter of your balls. Jeff talks about all the contestants' balls and how he doesn't want them to drop. And it came down to Sue and Kyle, like it always does.
It always does.
And Sue dropped her ball, making Kyle the fourth person, or his giving Kyle his fourth immunity necklace. We're
Yep.
reaching historic levels here with Kyle's immunity run. We'll see how long that will last. So we come back to the camp, and basically everyone's gunning at Gabe and Genevieve. It's
Yeah.
clear as day. Gabe, oh my god, okay, Gabe even goes to Genevieve, and one of the reasons why it was so blatant was because at the immunity challenge we had the now survivor staple, the rice negotiation, and
Mhm.
the contestants doing
They all gave up their shot in the darks for
crazy,
rice.
parading
Uh,
it.
the only one that held out really was like Sam, and but then with enough pressure, they basically convinced him.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good. I don't. I can talk about who goes home and whatever for the summary or whatever, but I think let's get to the thoughts. Let's get to the real raw emotions.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. So as we all know, as I've stated many times, Genevieve is my favorite. And was this as a Genevieve stan, was this a hectic episode? I was on the edge of my seat, didn't know what was happening. And I really thought she was gonna go home because Rachel was really gunning for her. She was like, and the fact is, and it was all because of stupid dumb Andy, who decided to. Today is the day that was playing a very Rome-esque game, but probably smarter because he waited longer. Where he's kind of just going to everyone and stirring shit up. He goes to Rachel and he's like, "Oh my god, Rachel, Genevieve wants you out." And then he goes to Sue and it's like, "Oh my god, Sue, Kyle calls you and Caroline Tweedledee and
Tweedledee and
Tweedledum."
Tweedledum.
Yeah, so basically doing something very similar to what Rome did in his last episode, where he
Hmm.
was going around being like, "Kyle said this, Kyle said that." Um, so it's very interesting to see that again. Um, so there was all of that, and basically everyone was like, "Well, we have to get Gabe out or Genevieve," and everyone was in either one of those camps. For a second in that conversation where Genevieve and Gabe were talking, I was like, maybe a third plan will happen, but
Maybe a Sue
but it's like
idol play, maybe
I
something.
yeah,
It
and
did
then
not happen.
Caroline lied to Sue for the first time ever in this game.
Yes.
She played a not loyal game and flipped.
There's a
Along with Kyle.
this was a big episode for a lot of contestants. I feel like it was a big episode for Caroline for not for lying to Sue. Kyle was like I didn't expect Kyle to be like, I might have to try and get Gabe before he tries to get me. Like there was actually a little bit of strategic agency with Kyle. I mean, still very surface level basic strategy, but there's some agency there, which probably only means impending doom for Kyle, because this episode it seemed like it illustrated his social threat that he is. But now he's like starting to actually talk strategy and not just saying like your basic boilerplate like, oh, I just want to do tribe strength, or I'll just do what you're doing. I'm loyal, blah blah blah. Like it's a step up from that, but it's only like one step up.
Yeah. It but, I mean, still with his immunity streak, any sign of him stepping up is probably seen as, like, threatening, but
Hmm.
I bet he could get away with it because, it was like Caroline did the same thing. I feel like it's more shocking that Caroline did. I don't know. We'll see.
I wrote this down in the middle of the episode. Andy has his amazing confessional of like talking about his like how he's manipulating everyone, and they show this web and the spider, and then all the faces are flashing in front of the screen. Genevieve, Gabe, Kyle. Is this potential foreshadowing? Are these the next three boots? I mean, it the
Gabe's
order
gone.
they showed them in is incorrect. They showed Genevieve first and then Gabe. Um,
Mhm.
but one of those three did go home. Does that mean the next two are going home?
I mean, they're the Genevieve and Kyle are the ones in the weakest positions.
Hmm.
So, and on the next time on, they even showed that Underdog Alliance or
The Underdog
whatever
Alliance.
whatever godforsaken creature that's becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm. And was
Um,
Sam even a part of that? I don't think he was he?
no, it
After
was
this,
Andy, Rachel, Teeny,
Sue,
Caroline, and there was one more. It
maybe
was
Sue.
5.
Sue was in it. Sue was in it. I saw Sue.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it
It's
was leaving out Sam, Genevieve, and Kyle.
funny how Sam this whole episode is like, guys, I'm on the bottom, and this is actually gonna. I think this brings us to the shot in the dark trade, which I have much to say about. But
Mhm.
he's been portraying himself as this underdog this whole episode, and now he's not even gonna be in the Underdog Alliance.
Because he's not an underdog. This man had one vote not go his way, and he's like, "Welp, I'm such an
Two
underdog." Like,
votes. Sierra Soul. Those were like his two of his
okay,
closest.
yeah, but that's the only reason it happened again was because he was dumb and was like, "Guys, I'm gonna try and flip the whole thing," and then try to like maneuver this, like
Nah.
orchestrate this giant thing, and it just didn't work out for him.
It wasn't gonna go his way if he didn't do anything. He didn't want
Well,
Soul to
I
go
mean,
home.
I'm just saying, like, out of so many people, I'm like, he's not
Hmm.
an underdog by any means, I don't
You know
think.
what? You know what this is? You know what this is? Oh my god, theory time. They're
Mm.
desperately trying to portray Sam as the underdog because he is going to get second place. I've been calling it since the beginning of the season. That man is getting second place. I haven't brought this up in a very long time, but Sam's getting second. I know it. I feel it in my
Yeah.
bones.
I guess we will see. Let's see if your bones are correct.
I drink a lot of milk.
Bones never
Healthy
lie.
bones. Mm.
Mhm.
All right, shot in the dark.
Yeah, that's gone
I
now.
can. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I think you had much stronger thoughts, than I
Okay,
did.
okay, so
Um
okay,
because for me, the shot in the dark, I think it's cool. Um, and I think it's great because it does incentivize people to split votes, and that can get very messy, and that causes a lot more coordination that's needed to pull off a certain move. Um, but you can argue that like the idea of idols could do the same thing. But you know, I will say I think that was dumb that they were like, "We're gonna give up our shots in the dark." I
I
think that was dumb, especially the fact that Kyle led that, I think was really interesting.
yeah,
It's quite a choice.
that was a risky play by Kyle.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts?
The only thing I wouldn't say the shot in the dark incentivizes splitting votes. I think if anything, it does the opposite because there's no harm in just going all in on one person. If they play their shot in the dark, then they play their shot in the dark, and their vote doesn't. There's no vote coming back to vote to get someone out. Like what the shot in the dark prevents is the easy boots, and I think the shot in the dark is an amazing twist. At the beginning, people were like, "What's the point of this? No one's using it. It's not making people safe." But it's not about like the visible tangible outcomes. It's about the how people are strategizing. You know, you can't be as just open about things. You have to people are actually trying to deceive their target into thinking they're safe. So there's a lot more manipulation in that sense. And my initial reaction was like, this is stupid. God damn it, Jeff. Just because it's a historical trade doesn't mean you have to make it. You're getting rid of so much potential gameplay that could be done with the shot in the dark. Like we just saw last episode with Rachel, or 2 episodes ago. But I'm I that was my zig. Now I'm zagging. I think the
Mhm.
twist of all of the shot in the dark suddenly leaving out of the realm of this season's gameplay has created this vacuum where all the contestants are like, oh crap, what did I just do? Like Genevieve was like, shoot, I really wish I had my shot in the dark right now. You don't realize how much you love it until it's gone. It's
Yeah.
the shot in the dark's the one that got away. Like contestants are gonna be feeling it from now on. 'Cause they're like,
Yeah.
this whole season they've been so cagey, not trying to tip off who they're voting for, and now they're like, fuck it, I don't. It doesn't even. I can say whatever I want now. Like Gabe and Genevieve are literally talking to each other. It's like it's gonna be one of us, and I don't know what to do. Um, Now maybe Gabe and Genevieve should have started talking to each other to try and flip. That would have been a very post or pre shot in the dark, like uh, you know, order of
That would have
events.
been very interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, who would have been the target? It would have been hard. At least
I
from
think you could have made it. I think you could have made an argument for Rachel. I think if you were gonna have to go down that route, Rachel, because I think it would be so easy to convince the Tugu members to vote Rachel because
yeah,
one, they tried to vote her before and it didn't work. So
hmm
clearly there's like not a lot of trust there, you know,
yeah.
like so far into the game that building that trust, it's just like it's not gonna happen. So I
I
feel
also
like you could be like get Rachel out and then, and then you go for the bigger targets.
I think when we were talking about it during the episode, like from the lens of this season and this episode, like it was like, well, what are they gonna do? Like, there's no one they could target that people would get behind. But probably in the moment, if they went to people and like gave a Rachel pitch, like I think you're right. I think there could have been some momentum behind that. Um,
Yeah, but I think you definitely it's difficult to say because when you are in, the position of being Gabe or Genevieve, pitching that could easily just suddenly boom, like now you're being voted out.
yeah,
So it
it's
would have been
only you're only proving you're the reason why you two are the
yeah.
are the two targets is because you're like
So it would be very, very difficult. Like you definitely would have to somehow influence someone else to do that on your behalf, kind of.
hmm
For the only way for it to, like, really work.
I
And I
think
think Gabe probably could have done that with Sue.
definitely with
Um,
Sue. Absolutely. Maybe with
so
Kyle. Maybe.
I think Kyle was already on, like, the boat, but, I mean, honestly, I think that if you're in the bottom and you know you're receiving votes, the best that you can hope for is chaos. So you want as many names out there, I think, as possible.
I mean,
Like,
yeah. Sorry, were you gonna you can finish that?
no, not I mean, like, because like, with I don't know, the soul vote, for example, like,
Mm.
so much chaos, so much confusion that, if it wasn't for Andy, Genevieve might have gotten away with it maybe, but,
Yeah.
who's to say?
The only other like route we could have saw happening while we watched the episode was the potential of an idol play from Sue.
Yes. But she
Now,
had no idea.
and so I pitched this idea to you, and I'll let the viewers listen to this. Caroline goes to Sue. She says, "Listen, it's between Gabe and Genevieve. You have to play your idol to save Gabe. You're flushing Sue's idol. You're making Sue look like a humongous threat, more than she already has being perceived as. And Gabe is already a threat, and now he's getting a idol played on him. Maybe you can make the argument that lowers his threat, but I feel like people are still gonna be like, oh, he's still a strategic threat. Gives you two big shields that you can pick off whenever you want, basically, because the Tuku has you keep the Tuku majority. Now those two are guaranteed to get targeted before you. Kyle is the other third Tuku that is the challenge beast. Now maybe
Yeah.
because of all of that, people are like Caroline's the real puppet master, but I don't know. That's like that would
I
be a
don't
hard.
think they'd go for that. I think
Yeah,
I think I think, that would have been a really big move for Carolina to do, and it would have been really smart. Um, but, I'm it's hard to say what would have happened, but that would have been smart. If I was Caroline, I think, that could have possibly have been the best outcome, but would you kind of go down as like a betrayer, I guess? Um,
Who,
possibly, and I feel
Caroline?
like it could yeah.
I guess it depends. Not for convincing Sue, but like later down the line, if she votes them out.
Yeah. Yeah, if she ends
I
up,
see that. I could
because
see
since
that.
Sue's a target, then it's like you either stick with them, the sinking ship that you started, or,
I mean,
you full send and switch over.
yeah. I think you could get away with blindsiding Gabe and not angering Sue, and I think Gabe would respect it. And then if you, as long as you just owned that you convinced Sue to play her idol, then you could honestly take Sue to the end with you.
One thing I find interesting though
Okay.
is I think Caroline is actually this just popped into my head. So
Hmm.
I think what we're not being shown is that Caroline, I think, lies a lot more than is let on.
Hmm.
And I'm saying this because, first of all, Gabe says, "So you have a bit of snake in you after all," when
Hmm.
he's leaving.
Hmm.
But also a comment that Sierra made, I think last episode, when it's revealed that Caroline
Oh,
lost her vote, Sierra says good.
good.
So clearly, like, I don't know if Sierra's in this kind of realm of like, hate everyone except Sam. Um,
Hmm.
but if that like isn't the case, like I think there's a really high possibility that Caroline is very sociable to like these people's faces, but then when it comes to like voting and like, is very good at reassuring everyone. And I think it's possible that like before people go, Caroline has been like is very supportive, very nice. So, like if I was worried that I was gonna be voted, I'd probably try talking to her and seeing what she would say because she kind of gives that like easy to read vibe. But she could just be lying straight up to these people's face right before every vote.
That'd be pretty
Um,
crazy.
so, maybe I think she might be more of a player than we're being shown.
Man, okay. Um, other like during the tribal, Genevieve. Okay, first the rain added to like the environment, the
I
intensity.
I will say that I completely disagree with how Genevieve handled the teeny situation.
Yeah.
I think I think her game is definitely going downhill, and I don't see
Mm.
a way for her to crawl back
There
up
was like
from this.
one. There was one confessional, or maybe it was when she was straight up just talking to Teeny, and it was like, I knew this was the best move for me, and then I'm like,
It wasn't.
yeah, she like genuinely believes voting out Soul was like the most optimal move for her. And like, I mean, if she makes it to the end, then like sure, I can't argue with that. But also, yeah, I mean, we've seen Rachel throwing Genevieve's name out now. We've seen Andy, Teeny, Sam, like so many people. So I guess the next time on, we didn't see like, did we see Genevieve's name come up at all?
Mm, Um,
We saw Rachel's name come up.
did Rachel's name come out to be voted
Yeah,
out? I don't.
she was like the main one. I felt like.
Oh, I think I must have missed that. I was so focused on that Underdog Alliance that I think the rest like. But
Hmm.
it's I don't know if this is just like foolish thinking, but fuck, I hope Andy goes soon. Oh my god. Like I've had but anyway, back to Genevieve and
Yes.
Teeny,
Yeah.
because I'm sidetracking myself.
No, you're good.
Sorry. I'm still, you know, very, very raw emotions. You know, I do think that when Genevieve sat Teeny down, I think it definitely burned a bridge, which
It burned a bag.
it burned a bag. And I I just want to say that I love I do love Teeny as like a person. And I think that episode really showed it. I think that
Hmm.
was a really sweet, wholesome moment.
Hmm.
Especially about like identity. It didn't feel like a forced um, backstory thing. It
Hmm.
was very like
Yeah,
natural
that's
because
true.
I'm glad that they've stopped doing this with the
with
backstories
the
because I
flashbacks.
remember
Mm-hmm.
like 44 especially,
Mm-hmm.
every single episode someone's having a traumatic backstory, a traumatic like
That's
flashback,
such
and
a good point.
it is so irritating, especially when it has nothing to do with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like with Teeny, it's like you've watched this person have like bad thing after bad thing after
Mm-hmm.
bad thing happen. Their bag burns. They've lost like their closest ally who's like betrayed them to like it felt very natural and very good. Whereas like I just remember that there's so many other times where there be flashbacks. Like I remember like in 44 Josh got a flashback, which was so out of nowhere and so like weird, and like yes it was sad and it made you feel for him, but like also he was just an awful player who was bad at the game, and so he went home pre-merge and it was just like whatever.
I will commend Teeny for they do like a amazing job at articulating like their feelings of what they are like feeling in the moment. Um, I mean, we've seen this throughout the whole season when they were talking about Asia and Kishan and like not wanting to ally with Rome, even in like the premiere, but they were like, he has an idol, he has an extra vote. Like I don't have any other option. Which is very yeah, it's very interesting. I'm all here for the revenge tour of Teeny. I hope that happens. I still can't tell if like we're just getting all of this like what is it, the ethos? Is that the ethical like we're getting all of the like yeah, all of the emotional sides of Teeny just so that if they make it to the end and lose, we're not like whatever. I feel like it's could still be like a fire making boot or a zero vote finalist or second place boot. But man, a teeny win would be like I feel like it would be so satisfying for like an
I
overarching
think it,
story.
I definitely think it's possible. Like there it's gotten to the point where I think I can only see honestly half of the cast winning, and she
Okay,
is one of, and
but
I mean
so
they are one of the
mhm.
half.
Teeny, who's that? Who's the four?
For me, the ones I think could win potentially, I which I hate to say because they're not what I would want, but what I personally see happening.
Mm-hmm.
Teeny, Andy, Rachel,
Okay,
or Caroline are
interesting.
the four that I
Wow.
see who could possibly
So
win.
so no Genevieve,
No.
no Kyle, no Sam, and no uh who's the last person I'm
Sue.
missing? Sam? Who? Sue. Genevieve and Sue, you don't think are gonna win?
I know. They're my two favorites.
Wow.
They're
They're
my
on your
two favorites,
team.
and I love them, but this episode especially makes both of them look awful and not winner material.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Well, we've reached. We're at minute 29. I think there's
okay.
still a lot more that we could get into about Sue's vendetta against Kyle, and
Yeah.
so much more. But let's keep this episode brief because we are
Mhm.
going to be doing our fantasy update and
Yes.
predictions in a second episode this week. Very exciting. Get ready for it. Well,
Double upload,
there will
everyone.
be a special guest.
Yeah.
Haven't decided on who that will be yet. Maybe someone with Gabe potentially.
I mean, that would be
Maybe,
Abby. It
maybe,
was only Abby who had
yeah,
it.
maybe. I was trying to be discreet, Michael, but
Oh,
maybe someone else. Who
I
knows?
mean, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure 8 people have it actually. You know, it could be anyone.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we're at 30 minutes. Okay, I guess
Yep,
that's
yep.
it.
Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in for our raw reactions. This is something new that we're that we're doing.
Don't know if we'll be able to do it next week if Michael
We
decides to
won't.
go to
We probably will
class.
not be able to do it next week. But if we keep this up for another season, I
Yeah,
probably won't have class
get
during
ready for
this
it.
time, hopefully. So, trying this out. Um, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed our raw,
Spiel.
spiels, unfiltered reactions, rants, feelings. I hate Andy. Um,
All
yep,
right. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you later in this week with our
Boom.
second upload of the week. So,
Crazy.
mwah, mwah, mwah.
Adios.